I'm Sadif. I'm from the Safe Support Service, and we work with young people who are victims of crime. And I cover the Berkshire area, so we're Thames Valley wide, but I cover the Berkshire area. So there's four main aspects to the work that we do at Safe. The first bit is the Young Victim Service, and where we work with 5 to 18-year-olds, and we go up all the way to 25-year-olds if they've got additional needs. And because we're across the Thames Valley, there's different parts of the service that we provide, which I'll go into a little bit later. And the main part is the Young Victim Service. So where we work with young people who have been seriously who have been through serious or persistent bullying at school, being sexually abused or assaulted, witnessed or being a victim of domestic abuse, being mugged or a physical assault, and being a victim of exploitation, being abused by cybercrime, or being a victim of any other crime. So when you refer in, that's where we decide if we're going to take the referral, and we have our own triage process. So the referral would come in. Most of our referrals come from social care, they'll come from Victims First or schools. So anyone like that. We also do self-referrals, so the young person can refer themselves, or parents can refer their child if they're concerned about them. So the next bit to our service is the CHISVA service, which is Children's Independent Domestic and Sexual Violence Advocacy. We have 3 advocates all across the Thames Valley, and they support young people on a longer term basis, and they will support them through the criminal justice process. So as you know, that can be from a couple of months to a couple of years. So the CHISVA will be there supporting them through the whole process. And then we've got a SASH, which is just in Buckinghamshire, so we don't need to cover that, but they do the same sort of support over there. And the other big part of our service is the Building Respectful Families. And the Building Respectful Families is around child and parent violence. So they will work with young people and the parents, and work in a whole sort of family process to try and support the family through whatever incidents they're going through with the young person. So the main part of our work, what we do is we offer one-to-one sessions with young people, either at school, at home, or in the community. Even if a young person is neat, which can cause problems for a lot of services, it doesn't matter to us. We still will go in and see them at home or in the community, and still offer our support. The support we offer is 6 sessions, so that can look however they want it to look. So it'll be 1 session a week or once every other week, and we will go in and see them for an hour. And most of the sessions, I say 99% of our sessions are face-to-face. And we use a approach called protective behaviors. And the protective behaviors approach is very much it's got 2 themes to it. So one of the themes is talking to the young person about being safe and feeling safe all of the time, and that they have the right to feel like that all the time. And the other part of the protective behaviors is trying to support them to understand that no matter how big, small, awful a problem is, they should talk about it. And by talking about it, it will, we can give them strategies and try and support them through whatever it maybe they're going through. And whilst we're doing this, we think about the safety continuum. I don't know where the pictures have gone, but the safety continuum talks about them feeling safe, and then talking about different aspects of, there's actually you can be safe, but then there's fun to feel scared, there's risking on purpose, and there's feeling unsafe, and what these things look like. So we would do a session just on this with them, so they understand what safe is for them. Ah, there's pictures. So that is just some examples of what that looks like. And we talk to young people about early warning signs and what this might be for them. So we talk about how it affects their emotions, how they might be feeling. So they could say they're feeling scared, they're feeling anxious, and then we would do some work around that with them, and try and help them to understand what that looks like. So what kind of internal feelings they might get as well. So, for example, early warning signs are that they might be feeling hurt, they might be feeling sick, they're crying, and their heart's racing really hard, like mine is right now. Wobbly legs, butterflies in their stomach. They might be having goosebumps, sweaty palms, and then clenching their fists, dry throats, wide eyes, sweating. And so we go through that process with them as well to help them understand what early warning signs look like. And the other thing we do with them is thinking about them keeping safe. What does safe mean to them? So we might do an exercise like this with them where we would ask them to identify 5 adults that they feel safe and they trust, and are happy to talk to when they're feeling scared or worried about something. So we do this exercise with them so they understand as well who's around them, who they feel safe with, and who they like to talk to, as well as thinking about other adults in their life. We also tell them about emergency numbers. We talk about Childline, and we give them the safe number as well so that they can contact us, because we have a WhatsApp chat service that they can access as well. So we try and support them that way as well. And this is just talking about our themes and strategies that we use to work with the young people. So we would reinforce the themes again and again by supporting them and making sure they feel safe and what that might look like for them. And then because sometimes the experiences they've been through are really traumatic, so we try and always present the sessions we do one step removed, so they're not talking about themselves in that situation all the time. And then again, reviewing their network, like I just showed you, the hand. Persisting, trying to make them think it's okay, even if they've tried, they've got to a space where they're feeling better, but all of a sudden something happens and they relapse. That's okay, just to try and go through that process again. And sometimes it's not always the first time that they say, oh yeah, that's worked for me, and I'm all fine now. So it does take a while for them to start feeling better about things. And then we think about the protective interruption. So anything we do to keep ourselves or others safe from potential risk or harm. So we would talk to them about that. Where do you look for help, for example? Who can you go to? What can you do to distract yourself if you're feeling anxious or worried about something? So we would try and support them like that through different activities and strategies. And then we talk about the risking on purpose. So just explaining that to them, feeling fearful, so what that might look like for them, and how they can overcome feeling like that. The language of safety, choosing languages and behavior which observes everyone's right to feel safe. So just helping them understand what that looks like for them. So a young person's journey through SAFE. I think this is probably really important for you guys to know. So they when we get a referral to SAFE, and the referral process is just one referral form. It comes through the front door, and all referrals are processed via our CMS system. Firstly, each case goes through an initial triage to assess suitability. So that's a team of our senior practitioners sit together and go through the referral to make sure that the crime type is right, the location, age, and consent, and that they've been referred for the right reason to SAFE. Initial assessments take place. Cases sent to the relevant localities. So again, because I only cover the Berkshire area, it would be sent to me. We've got a similar team in Oxfordshire and a similar team in Buckinghamshire. So they would go to the right area, and then they would be reassessed and sent through. So the whole process in total would take something like 5 to 6 months. So before the young person might be seen. So that I feel is getting a lot better. During COVID, it was a lot longer. Contact call is held with the young person. So the reason we started doing that was because we were getting a lot of referrals through. By the time, we were actually getting to see the young person, they were like, well, I don't really want this support, do you know? So we felt like we weren't having contact with them soon enough. So once they're triaged, we contact them straight away. If they're over 11, we speak to them directly, and we would make sure that they've consented to the safe support, which is working really well. And we're getting a lot of more referrals coming through where young people are happy to be supported by us. Young person is added to our waiting list, and whilst they're on the waiting list, they can access our WhatsApp group where they can speak to someone directly if they're going through anything, if they're worried about anything, and they can talk to someone directly. And that's working really well as well, because sometimes whilst they're on the waiting list, like I said, if it's something like 2 or 3 months, they sometimes they don't feel like they need support any longer. So it's good to keep that contact with them and to make sure that things are going well for them, or how they're feeling, or what's going on. So it's working really well. So if you'd like to ask me any questions about this afterwards, I'm more than happy for you to do that. So we also are very familiar with the safeguarding processes, and I know you guys are as well, so I won't go through all of this with you, but a lot of the senior practitioners attend lots of early help groups in different areas, where we're a part of the triage process for early help as well. So we would support that. So we're very much for multi-agency working, and we do what we can to support that by attending lots of teams around the family, lots of meetings about young people, CIN meetings, CP meetings. So we would attend all of that to make sure that the child's voice is being heard as well, even though we do have a confidentiality agreement with them. We can talk about them being involved with SAFE, so to give their perspective a little bit on things as well. So it's a really good sort of middle ground for them to be involved in these meetings as well. We empower them as well to try and tell them, that they should be involved in having their voice heard and things like that as well. So we go through that whole process with them, and we don't really give reports after our work, but we're happy to share what we've done, as in just like the basics of what we've done with the young people. So we don't really write reports. And so I've got an example of a young person that we've worked with, which I thought might be helpful for you to see how our process works. So it's a male who was 13, and he was referred through Victims First to Thames Valley Police after the young person became a victim of bullying, severe bullying at school. The young person had been physically assaulted and was also receiving threat messages through social media as well. So it wasn't just at school, it had actually, it was constant at home as well. And the victim first made contact with the young person's mother, who disclosed that not only was her child being bullied, but they were also subject to ongoing emotional abuse. Every time they went out, they stayed with their dad and his partner. He was getting emotionally abused there as well. So he was going through a lot of trauma. Mum was becoming increasingly concerned for her child's welfare. The young person was presenting as extremely anxious, withdrawn, and had a really low level of confidence. So he was referred through Victims First to SAFE, where we did a lot of work with him around building his confidence and his self-esteem again. And we talked a lot about building his awareness around healthy relationships. And the work continued really well. And he started having days off school, so we supported him through that as well and tried to get him back into school. The work went on for about 6 to 8 weeks, and we did have to do a lot of multi-agency working with the school as well. And luckily he came out of it really well and is attending school and got a good attendance now. So it shows that if we all work together, it really does work well for the young people. And that's the end of my presentation. So if you'd like to ask any questions, please go ahead.